NBC is the place to be.
Good health has a good name called
Land O'Lakes.
Spread is sweet cream. Lower in fat and cholesterol free.
Good health has a good taste called
Land O'Lakes.
Spread is sweet cream. Just one taste and you know what we mean.
Good health,
Yeah.
good taste,
Well,
good name.
Land O'Lakes.
Spread with sweet cream.
I thought Honda Accord was a big money saver. I found out Pontiac Grand Am is bigger. Grand Am not only gives me better gas mileage, it's priced over $2,300 less than Accord. Right now, with Smartly, no down payment and just $199 a month puts me in this new 91 Grand Am LE with air, automatic, stereo cassette, cruise control, power door locks, and more. When you compare Grand Am's bigger value, who can afford Accord? See your New England Pontiac dealers now.
This Easter, don't pass over a new suit from Simon's for just $229.95. In the Providence Financial District, Simon's fine men's clothing is dedicated to quality and service at outstanding prices. Simon's offers superbly tailored business clothing at half the price of other fine stores. Now select from these fine new spring suits at the astounding price of only $229.95. What better way to kick off the arrival?
7.
Good evening, I'm Edie Tarbuck. RD and Margie have tonight off. Topping tonight's news, former Senator Paul Tsongas gets his feet wet in the presidential waters. First up, Iowa.
For the second time in a row, it appears that a man from Massachusetts is making a bid for the White House. And as News 7's Byron Barnett reports, Tsongas has not yet officially declared his candidacy, but that may be just a matter of time.
Senator Tsongas?
Meeting with Johnson County Democrats in Iowa tonight, former Democratic Bay State Senator Paul Tsongas waded into the political waters, trying to catch an early wave en route to the 1992 Iowa presidential caucuses.
I come from a part of the country which has been devastated by the economic decline and grew up with that. And I think it's very obvious the president's not going to address it, and I think it's important that the Democrats finally begin to understand economics.
Tsongas is joined in Iowa by the likes of Democrats Jesse Jackson and George McGovern. But any Democrat will have his or her work cut out by facing President George Bush, fresh off a lopsided victory in the Persian Gulf War and soaring in popularity.
Certainly, if the election were held today, I don't think there's anybody in the country that could beat George Bush.
Former state GOP Executive Director Alexander Tennant says the anti-war vote cast by many congressional Democrats will kill their presidential chances.
I think the war issue will have a negative impact on certain candidates, particularly if there's a candidate for president that was on record saying that they were against the war, particularly when we went in and achieved all of our objectives and goals.
But political analyst George Bacharach says that's what may give a long shot like Paul Tsongas an opening for his party's nomination.
The advantage that a guy like Tsongas has is if the serious candidates are scared off by George Bush's 1991 popularity and don't get into the race, then Tsongas may work his way to the nomination, and if in 1992 the economy goes down the tubes, that nomination may be worth something.
Tsongas was politely and respectfully received by Iowans tonight, but some people believe the country cannot stomach another liberal Greek Democrat from Massachusetts. And we're also hearing that many Iowans don't even know who Tsongas is. But of course, the election is still a long way off. Anything can happen. Mark?
That's for sure. What about the economy, though? How would that play into the equation?
We heard George Bacharach talking about the possibility of the economy, and he says that obviously if the economy doesn't improve or it gets worse, that poses a problem for George Bush, and the war issue will go away. People will forget about that. But Sandy Tennant, interesting enough, says that the question is who is going to be blamed for the economic problem. He says if the president convince the public that the Democratic-controlled Congress is at fault for the economy, if it worsens, then the president will come out smelling okay.
Okay, the beginning of a very long road. Thank you very much. News 7 political editor Joe Day is following Paul Tsongas, and he will file reports for us from Iowa on News 7 tomorrow. Edie?
First taste of a lot of politics to come. Right now, let's go to Harvey Leonard for our first weather and a look ahead to Tuesday. Harvey?
Okay, Edie, thanks a lot. We're all looking forward to some spring sunshine. I think it's going to develop during the course of tomorrow. Now, about 7 or 8 in the morning, there still may be some clouds with the sun breaking through in some areas. It'll be about 37. It will not be very windy, so that won't be a big problem for you. Let's check the readings in the outlying areas again with signs of clearing starting to show, generally in the 30s at that hour. But as the day wears on, sunshine will be increasing. And by mid to late afternoon, there should be plenty of sun. That'll take temperatures into the 50s inland. It will be 5 to 10 degrees cooler on the coast with a sea breeze, but it'll turn out to be a very, very nice day. That is first weather. I guess it won't be too long before you're out on the links.
I'll tell you what, if that forecast holds true, might have to do it tomorrow. It might be a little soggy. The UMass Minutemen, in their quest for an NIT championship, encountered a bump in the road tonight. At Madison Square Garden, Stanford's Andrew Blaha finds Adam Key for 2 of his 24. Stanford squeaks out a 73-71 victory to end the UMass basketball season. Later in sports, Red Sox highlights from Florida, and you'll hear the most interesting story about the newest member of the Boston Celtics. See you in a few minutes. Mark and Edie.
All right, John, thank you. Bay State educators are reacting negatively tonight to the release of the 1990 Basic Skills Test given to students in public schools. The report shows a drop in test scores in each grade tested, down significantly from the scores of 1989. Governor Bill Weld refused to connect the drop in basic skills scores to cuts in educational funding.
Cut funding drastically. What I am saying is that not every dollar you spend in the education area has a direct impact on test scores. Witness the example of New Hampshire with the highest scores in the country a couple of years ago and some of the lowest per pupil expenditures.
Governor Weld also says that he does not expect Bay State schools to be hurt noticeably by any of the proposed local aid cuts. Boston police are looking for the mother of a newborn boy left dead in a Dorchester neighborhood today. The tiny body with the umbilical cord still attached was found just after 2 this afternoon in the side yard of a house on Mather Street.
We responded to a radio call for a dead infant, and what we found here was an infant that appears to be a newborn. Looks like a black male child, and notified homicide and the appropriate agencies, and the investigation is going on.
A spokesman for the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office says if the mother of the infant can be found, she could face any number of charges, depending on the circumstances.
Mark, the Pamela Smart murder conspiracy trial is far from over tonight. Defense attorneys are now planning their appeal, and much of it will center around the issue of sequestering the jury. The defense contends the jury was sequestered much too late during the trial. Also at issue is a complaint that the New Hampshire Attorney General's office is investigating. Allegedly, one of the jurors may have discussed the case in public before the verdict. Today, one juror told News 7's Miles O'Brien any charges the jurors were not responsible are unfair.
Unless, you think the jurors are incompetent or deceitful, we didn't. I talked to several jurors, and I think a lot of us took pride in, sometimes it was difficult, but, it was a job, and I think we felt that it was a responsibility.
Defense attorneys say it'll be several weeks before they're ready to file that formal appeal.
A lot more to tell you about on News 7 tonight, and old Salt does his part in his 4th war. We will meet the sea captain who sailed out of retirement into the Gulf conflict at the age of 74.
And Hollywood stars come out for the annual Oscar Bash. Debbie Ann Bloom charting the winners and losers, plus celebrating the Academy Awards right here at home.
And later in our Tomorrow segment, things are getting downright catty in Plymouth. A woman faces eviction and a date in court. We'll tell you why when News 7 continues.
The Nissan Pathfinder 4x4 has the best resale value in its class. That is, if you can find someone who wants to sell one. Drive a Nissan, then decide. The rugged Nissan 4x2 has a more powerful standard engine than Chevy or Ford, plus more cargo volume. So you might say we beat those guys coming and going. Drive a Nissan, then decide.
Every business morning, while the rest of the world is getting up, UPS is guaranteeing overnight delivery before 10:30 to the most people, places, and businesses for far less than other companies charge. And every business morning, more people are waking up to that fact.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, I'm here in the Advertising Hall of Fame to find the perfect adjective to describe Schweppes Raspberry Ginger Ale. It's pink with the tart taste of raspberries and the kick of ginger ale.
I've got exciting, revolutionary, unique, swell, flavorific. Very nice indeed.
That's it. Schweppes Raspberry Ginger Ale is very nice indeed.
Your bill.
Thank you. Now, do you have an adjective to describe highway robbery?
Schweppes Raspberry Ginger Ale. Schweppes in pink. How big of a down payment do you have to make to lease a new Cadillac Sedan DeVille? The answer is 0. None. Nothing. No down payment at all. And you pay just $499 a month for only 36 months. Examine this offer closely and compare. We think it may be the best deal anywhere. It's the Cadillac Smart Lease Program, offered by your Cadillac Super Network dealers. No down payment, $499 a month, 36 months for a Cadillac Sedan DeVille. Fantastic.
Fighting continues between rebels in Iraq and the forces loyal to Saddam Hussein. Kurdish troops are training in camps across the border in Syria, and everywhere in Iraq there is proof of the civil strife. Today, word rebels took control of Iraq's fourth largest city. Above Iraq, Allied forces fly 400 missions a day to enforce terms of the ceasefire as final conditions are hammered out.
As of today, in fact, they're meeting again today to work on this resolution.
Although the bargaining isn't over, a quarter of all U.S. forces are on their way home or already there. The Pentagon wants all American ground forces home within the next few weeks. Today, there's a new twist in the murder of a U.S. soldier who made it home safely from the war, only to be killed in his own hometown. Anthony Riggs was murdered in Detroit while moving his wife and adopted daughter into a new home. Police have now reportedly arrested Riggs' brother-in-law and have questioned Riggs' wife. Sources tell CBS News Riggs' wife may have been having an affair and talked her brother into killing her husband to collect insurance money. Mark?
A Milton man is home from the Persian Gulf War, like so many others who served their country proudly. But Captain Norman Pearson is not like most of the soldiers and sailors returning. Norman Pearson is 74 years old, and he came out of retirement to once again captain a merchant marine cargo ship, this time in the Gulf, ferrying Patriot missiles and other munitions for Desert Storm. And you may be surprised to learn there were a few retirees like him called back to help.
They came from different areas, all different walks. Everybody retired. They lived all over the country. But there was engineers, mates, captains, radio officers, and so forth. Some came from nursing home down in Florida. There were several came home, and they were almost 80 years old.
As for himself, Captain Pearson says that he's glad to be home now after 2.5 months in the Gulf, but he admits it did feel good to get back to the sea he loves after 9 years of retirement. He served in the Merchant Marines 48 years before going ashore in 1982.
In a move that could affect millions of Americans, the Supreme Court has agreed to review whether tobacco companies can be sued for health damages. Now, at issue is the long debate over whether warning labels are enough to exempt tobacco companies from the responsibility of smoking health risks.
The Supreme Court decision is the most important thing in saving the original jury verdict in our favor. And it's important because it may very well open the doors to millions of smokers who have died or become disabled or injured as a result of taking up a product that they were tricked into beginning using.
We're pleased that the Supreme Court has decided to take the case and that it will apparently resolve the conflict that has developed in the lower courts.
The Supreme Court is expected to issue its decision on the cigarette labels in 1992.
Well, John is back with more Monday Night Sports, and some local kids try to make good at the NIT.
And in the pro ranks, when next you see the Boston Celtics, they will have a new face wearing number 12. He brings with him a most interesting story. Come right back, everybody, and meet the newest member of the Boston Celtics. Sports is next.
Tonight's sports is sponsored in part by Mitsubishi.
Of all the extraordinary new automobiles that come to America, only one was awarded Motor Trend Import Car of the Year, the Mitsubishi 3000 GT. Those who'd like to see the same inspired technology in a luxury car will have to wait, but not for long. The new Mitsubishi Diamante, coming May 15th. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around.
please pass the all fruit?
Pass the Polaner all fruit.
Pass the Polaner all fruit.
Would you please pass the jelly?
Polaner all fruit is real fruit, sweetened only with fruit juice and no added sugar. You'll call it delicious, you'll call it remarkable, but please, don't dare call it jelly. Polaner all fruit, the spreadable fruit.
Conventional wisdom says before you invest in a company, examine the numbers. Common sense tells us you also better examine the kitchen. So at Fidelity Investments of Boston, Massachusetts, our analysts visit over 6,000 companies a year. Maybe that's why over $100 billion has found its way to Fidelity.
Yeah, the numbers are great. And the cheesecake is fabulous.
Fidelity Investments. Common sense. Uncommon results.
American Airlines is proud to announce special low fares that go everywhere. $69 to $309 to anywhere in the continental U.S. and Hawaii. Most of the Caribbean from $134 to $194. And exciting European destinations from as low as $249. Plus great low fares to the Pacific and the Far East. Seats are limited and tickets must be purchased by April 8th. So call us or your travel agent today.
I don't know if you've ever been up on the 4th floor around 8:30 or so. John does laps around the 4th floor. Fast running. Trying to get into the mood of basketball, I guess.
He gets pumped. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way for UMass.
Just in case I get called up, I want to be ready. I want to be ready. UMass, 2 wins shy of a dream season. The Minutemen had their dream of an NIT basketball title dashed at the charity stripe in Madison Square Garden tonight. Facing Stanford in the semifinals, the Minutemen missed 10 of their 24 free throws and lost the game by a bucket, 73-71. Stanford heats up early with a 20-4 run, highlighted by this alley-oop slam from Andrew Vlahoff to Dashawn Wingate. Cardinal up 24-8. With UMass star Jim McCoy out with foul trouble, his replacement Rayford Giles produces a steal and this bucket to start an 11-2 run. UMass down 4 at the break. Second half now, the Minutemen roll on. Anton Brown, great pass to William Herndon, and the Garden goes wild as the Minutemen take the lead, 59-58. But Stanford answers right back. That was a three-point bomb by John Patrick. The Cardinal would never trail again. Free throws killed UMass, making just 14 of 24. Stanford bumps the Minutemen out of the NIT semifinals, 73-71, the final score. With 7 minutes left in the second game, Colorado is leading Oklahoma 66-64. The new kid on the Celtic block is CBA star A.J. Winder. Jack Edwards says his 17 points per game and his league-leading 161 steals in 53 ball games is what caught the Celtics' attention.
Our CBA people, scouts and people we talked to throughout the CBA thought that he was doing a good job as far as being a point guard, leading a team, and had some good defensive skills as well. And we needed someone in here quickly.
The call came within hours of Charles Smith's arrest. Winder is a recent CBA Player of the Week, but some of the stuff which worked in the minor leagues gets stuffed in your face in the big show.
You know, I'm in awe right now, but I just got to calm myself down and come out and do the things that got me here.
Were there moments today that you had to suppress the oh wow factor? Like, this is Larry Bird out here, this is Robert Barron?
At first, when I first walked in the locker room, met everybody, but once I got out here, Coach Ford told me just to relax, and they told me exactly what they want, pressure defense, move the ball up the court. You know, I know I wouldn't come up here to do no big scoring, so, you know, I just got to play. And like I said, the big thing is just relaxing and let everything fall into place.
The Celtics coaching staff is trying to push a few things into place in Winder's head. Brian Shaw's ankle needs more rest, and the urgent need for relief minutes may accelerate Winder's NBA baptism.
I think he's an intelligent player, and I think that, you know, when you spend some time just running some simple plays out there, it's pretty easy to adapt.
Winder's basketball future was in doubt when he was stabbed in the stomach during his freshman year at UMass, defending a woman who was being attacked. Winder's assailant was charged with assault with intent to murder. Winder recovered from emergency surgery, transferred to Fairfield, got his degree, and survived the CBA crucible.
It is a lesson of perseverance. Just stick with it, and maybe good things will happen. And, you know, you got to pray every day and come out and work hard, and I think that's the big key. And for myself, you know, from where I've had to come, it's been a big stride for me.
A.J. Winder is a Celtic now. he and the team would just as soon put the past behind them. In Brookline, Jack Edwards, Sports 7.
Meanwhile, Celtic wannabe Derek Smith struggled through his first full workout today. He is clearly a long way from making a meaningful contribution in a game. Tonight, the Rockets take an 11-game win streak into Chicago, but look at Michael Jordan burn Vernon Maxwell to a crisp at the other end when Maxwell misses the three-point bomb. Akeem is there for the monster slam. The Rockets on the run. Rather than travel, Maxwell tosses up a prayer for an answered play of the night. But Maxwell and Michael would go head-to-head, face-to-face, and ear-to-ear before cooler heads prevailed. Rockets win it in Chicago. 100-90 is the final. Rest of the NBA looks this way. Washington over New Jersey. Scott Skiles scores 31 as the Magic win their third in a row. Detroit leads Denver in the third. Utah up on Milwaukee in the third. You know what? If Danny Darwin continues to pitch like he has so far this spring, Red Sox fans may be saying, Mike Boddicker, who? In Sarasota today, the Red Sox $12 million free agent ran his record to 4-0 with a 1.89 ERA. Darwin allowed just a run on 2 hits while striking out 5. That, coupled with Mike Greenwell's go-ahead home run in the 6th inning, was all Boston would need for their 2-1. Go ahead and hit it, Gator. Victory over the White Sox in Sarasota. Joe Morgan's men, by the way, are 13-7 in Grapefruit League play. The Bruins are off until tomorrow night when they visit Ron Tugnut, you remember him, and the Nordiques in Quebec. Tonight in Minnesota, the Blues' Brett Hull puts notch number 82 in his gun belt. With 5 games left, Hull trails Gretzky's all-time single-season goal record of 92 by 10. Just 2 games in the National Hockey League scoreboard. The Canadians' Brent Gilchrist gets the game winner in overtime. Montreal a winner 3-2 over Hartford. St. Louis leads Minnesota 5-4 in the third. Briefly tonight, Joan Benoit Samuelson says she will be at the starting line April 15th for the running of the Boston Marathon. That's after Joni's win yesterday at the Cincinnati Mini Marathon. After 10 years of roaming the secondary for the San Francisco 49ers, All-Pro safety Ronnie Lott has signed a 2-year, $2 million non-guaranteed contract with Al Davis and the Raiders. And finally, I know this may come as a shock, but boxing promoter Don King has somehow arranged a multi-million-dollar rematch between Mike Tyson and Razor Ruddock. Yes, after that controversial ending last week, he's going to do it again to the American public. He's going to fleece us, and we're all going to bite. Late in June, Ruddock and Tyson one more time for untold millions.
You don't suppose money has anything to do with it?
Yeah.
Never underestimate King. All right, now let's check in with Harvey and find out what the weather's going to be like tomorrow. You said sunshine earlier.
Yes, it's going to get better finally. You know, spring is about 4 days old or so, and we haven't seen really any sunshine at all this spring season, but it is early in the spring season. Things obviously will get better, and really in the short term, as tomorrow promises a whole lot more for us. It's still overcast, though, right now in Boston, still in scattered locations, a few drops of rain, a scattered snowflake. Hasn't changed much in the last 6 hours at all. 37 is the temperature, a feeble breeze off the ocean, but the barometer continues to rise, and that does continue to be a good sign from 30.16 inches. All right, today, of course, we had the clouds. It's not a real thick area in terms of from east to west. Parts of Maine were clear, and then from southwestern Pennsylvania all the way down, nice and clear. Pittsburgh was clearing up. Washington was. But the clearing trend has been slow to move, but it is moving, because now it has cleared up down New York City way, and those clear skies will be stretching slowly to the northeast with time and overspreading our area during tomorrow morning. So even if there is some cloudiness when you wake up in the morning, as the day wears on, more and more sun. Temperatures are generally in the 30s, but tomorrow they will push toward the 50s inland. Along the coast, the famous early season easterly sea breeze will take over, knock them back to the 40s in the afternoon. But look at this tremendous wedge of warmth down here. That is going to start to make a run at us midweek. Once this high-pressure area slips off the coast, the circulation will bring that warmer air on up, and we will be set up for very, very mild weather by late Wednesday and most especially Thursday, which could be the warmest day of the season so far. Now, on Wednesday, as the warm air moves in, there'll be a period of cloudiness mixed with the sun, and then the floodgates are open for us to be on the warm side of the jet stream. Floodgates this time in terms of warm air, not in terms of heavy rain. So let's give you a forecast for the next several days. Breaking down like this for tonight, again, a couple of sprinkles, a stray snowflake, with the clouds tending to break in some areas late tonight, 28 to 36. For tomorrow, look for increasing sun as the day moves along, getting into the 50s inland, 45 to 50 right along the shore, and in Boston in the afternoon with a sea breeze. Tomorrow night, clear to partly cloudy, 30s and low 40s. And again, we'll have intervals of clouds and sun on Wednesday between 50 and 60 in the afternoon. Coolest on the Cape because that southeast or even southwest wind there is off the still chilly waters. But there you see it, Thursday, right up to the 60s we go. Perhaps a run at 70 in some areas, and some April-like showers will be around sometime very late in the week. There's the hotline number, 227-7777. I guess you hear that 70-degree mark, and that certainly makes you feel a little bit differently, right? Mark's rubbing his hands.
Yeah.
He's ready.
Bring it on.
Good, Harvey. I like it.
Thanks a lot, Harv. Coming up next, arts and entertainment reporter Debbie Enblum joins us with the Oscar scoreboard.
One big thing, Dances with Wolves just got its 4th Oscar. We'll also tell you about some Bay Staters dressed for the occasion with Oscar night parties around our area. Debbie has it all coming up next.
They sent a chauffeured limo right to my door.
Sure they did,
Took me right to the plane. I got a sleeper seat. No kidding. Got a free economy class ticket, too. Really?
Unfortunately, no one believes the extraordinary things you get on Virgin Atlantic's business class to London, except the lucky ones who've flown it.
In you go.
They sent a chauffeured limo straight to my door.
Introducing Virgin Atlantic Airways. Take us for all we've got.
We're going to have to build a new wing for these guys. Yeah.
You put a lot of yourself into something like this. A lot of, you can really get emotionally involved with a project like this. It all started with the challenge for the old values. Maintain the old values. Yeah, so we jumped all over that. You couldn't have taken over an old plant and done that. You had to come someplace where it's, where you can start over, in effect. So then we started looking for a place you could move people to that had a good quality of living, and we stumbled on Spring Hill. When you fill a place up with high technology, then you have to train the people that can take care of it. You can't build cars without people. So if you could take all that enthusiasm and translate that into the car, it's a real marriage. But if you never forget the people part of it, then you're going to be all right. That's how we got Spring Hill.
Al Pacino has been nominated 5 times for an Academy Award, but has never won. Will this year be different? On the next Entertainment Tonight, we're taking a look back at the greatest Hollywood legends who were overlooked by Oscar. There's Kirk Douglas and Deborah Carr. Cary Grant was twice denied. Peter was 7 times, and Greta Garbo died Oscarless.
She was disliked at the time in Hollywood.
Get the inside story only on Entertainment Tonight.
Entertainment Tonight. Tonight at 11:35.
Now, in arts and entertainment, a pop quiz for you. What weighs 8.5 pounds, is 13.5 inches high, and gold? You guessed it, it's an Oscar. 22 of them are being handed out tonight in Los Angeles. Debbie Enblum has highlights of how things are going so far in the 63rd Annual Academy Award.
Well, we don't get any Oscars, unfortunately, but we sure have some more show tonight to be watching, and there's a lot going on. The Silver Screen's Golden event is in progress. Comedian Billy Crystal is MC, and it's really Hollywood's night to shine. Here is the latest on the celebration in California and in the Bay States. Oscar frontrunner Kevin Costner is excited.
Yeah, I am. It's nice to belong.
The big night is here, and so are the stars. Outside the shrine, a sea of black and white with splashes of glitz and glitter. It's also Oscar night in glorious Waltham, where Oscar followers have gathered for their 10th year at a down-home party. Many, including young superstars, dressed as past Oscar nominees, sharing in the fun. Another Academy Awards party is going strong at the Roxy, a benefit to fight AIDS.
I think I'm rambling. I'm just answering a question.
The first winner tonight, Whoopi Goldberg, Best Supporting Actress.
We're having a little discussion. What do you mean don't be like that?
And the winner of Best Supporting Actor, Joe Pesci, for his role in Goodfellas. He beat out Davison, Garcia, Green, and Pacino. So far, Dances with Wolves, with its record 12 nominations, is doing very well. It's collected 3 Oscars, including Best Original Score. No big surprises there. Dances with Wolves has also won Best Sound and Editing, and it just won Cinematography, so that means number 4. I'm expecting the movie actually to get Best Picture, and I think Kevin Costner will be honored with Best Director for the movie. We'll have to see how that goes.
What about Best Actor? Do you think he'll get Best Actor?
No, I don't. I think that this was not his strongest role by any means. And I think that where he really is shining is, of course, in this epic Western. I mean, this is something that the Academy can't resist, I think, because it's a Western. We haven't seen a Western win for many, many years with subtitles yet. I think Jeremy Irons will win in the Best Actor category for Reversal of Fortune. He's outstanding. Best Actress, I think Joanne Woodward for Mr. and Mrs. Bridge.
And quickly, any surprises for you tonight so far?
Nothing really. Pretty predictable this evening. There were lots of surprises in terms of what I felt might have been left out. I thought that Reversal of Fortune was left out in the Best Picture category. And I was surprised that Paul Newman wasn't nominated for his work in Mr. and Mrs. Bridge. But we'll see how his wife does tonight.
Okay. Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you. Still ahead tonight, we'll look ahead to tomorrow. The first glance at the front page of the Boston Herald.
And a Plymouth woman is anything but the cat's meow, he tries to say, to her trailer park neighbors. We'll tell you what she did to prompt a court appearance tomorrow. Our tomorrow segment is coming up next.
Road and Track calls the Nissan Maxima SE the best sedan in its class. Those who drive it put it another way. Drive a Nissan, then decide. The Nissan Pathfinder 4x4 has the best resale value in its class. That is, if you can find someone who wants to sell one. Drive a Nissan, then decide.
Know our assignment and go out and do it with some aggressiveness.
Why is it that some people constantly manage to reach heights others can only dream of? A few towns in western Pennsylvania have produced more football legends than any other place.
We play with poison.
Dan Marino.
We know at the end of this
Johnny Unitas. George Blanda. What is it about these towns that gives birth to such greatness? Here's pride, tradition, an obsession with excellence. The very things that drive us at Ford Motor Company. When leadership is in your blood, you push yourself to greater and greater heights. Our 1991 four-door Explorer and Escort have recorded the highest customer satisfaction ratings in our history. And starting right now, you'll be seeing more new models and exciting innovation from Ford and Lincoln Mercury than you've seen in years. America fell in love with Ford in the 80s, and we're going to be even tougher to beat in the 90s. Ford Motor Company.
Hi, I'm Dawn Hayes. There was no winner in Friday night's Mass Millions drawing, so this Tuesday, your Mass Millions ticket could be worth an estimated $10 million. Watch the Mass Millions drawing Tuesday night at its new time, 7:58.
One of the stories we'll be following tomorrow is who has filed nomination papers to fill the seat of the late Silvio Conti. Tomorrow is the deadline for all of the Republican and Democratic hopefuls for the 1st Congressional District to file the papers with the Secretary of State. Those qualifying with 967 certified voter signatures will appear on the April 30th primary ballot. And a Plymouth woman will be heading to court tomorrow to face eviction proceedings, all because she feeds stray cats against her landlord's lease agreement. Residents of the Pinehurst Village Trailer Park say Isabel Wilson is attracting dozens of cats which are becoming a nuisance. The 87-year-old Wilson says somebody has to help these animals.
I think that it was the people who didn't take their cats with them. They should have done something about it. They'd look at you with such soulful eyes, you know, and we knew they were hungry.
Miss Wilson missed her first court appearance, but she's indicated she intends to be there tomorrow.
And here's your first look at the first edition of tomorrow's Boston Herald. In the headline, Boston Mayor Ray Flynn rips the school department for wasting money on bus costs. In the big picture, the Oscars, the Herald will have complete details on the winners and losers, who is box office gold and Hollywood rejects. The Herald also has an update on the Pamela Smart case and what led police to investigate her in connection with her husband's murder. Also, the auto industry and the sales staff waiting for the release of the new General Motors car, the Saturn.
That's the news for now. I'm Mark Weil in tonight for R.D. Saul. Thank you for joining us.
And I'm Edie Tarbox. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.